I try to employ as much experiential learning as possible in my class, and luckily in a field like biology, there are lots of opportunities to do so. One of the other sources of kind of innovative ideas that I use actually comes from my students themselves. So they're always coming up with new strategies and techniques and tools that they use as they process the information. And so I'm constantly soliciting them for those ideas, and then I share those with the class. My colleagues are another source of inspiration. Through that, as well as professional development workshops, I've been able to utilize a variety of formative assessment techniques, including things like Pear Deck and Padlet and Flipgrid and Kahoot and Jeopardy and Socrative. And all of these allow me to further engage my students, but also allow me to assess how they're doing and really whether or not they understand the information. So the very first thing I do every semester with a new group of students is I gather information from them. What is their background? What are their interests? And I use that really as a filter for how I approach teaching the course content. And so understanding the backgrounds of my students and realizing that they all have various perspectives helps guide me in the examples that I provide, as well as the stories that I tell alongside the course material. In addition to that, I do also try to employ a variety of means for allowing students to access material through things like open education resources and inclusive access courses that make it easier for diverse students to really learn the content. So creating an equitable classroom is of utmost importance to me. Part of the way that I do this kind of overlaps with a lot of my other teaching strategies in that I try to get to know my students and understand what their strengths and their weaknesses are. I try to tailor resources to the students that need a bit of remediation as well as those that want to work ahead. In addition to that, I try to ensure that the resources that I'm providing are easily accessible so that students of all abilities and all backgrounds are able to access that information. So my teaching philosophy is really centered around passion. I'm very passionate about the field of biology, and I try to transfer that to my students. When I see that passion for the field growing in them, it's one of the most rewarding things. In addition to that, I think just really constant communication and openness with my students helps me to reach them and really connect them with not only the course material, but I also realize that teaching goes well beyond the classroom, making sure that they're aware of campus resources and opportunities that are available to them, making sure that they are transitioning to their next steps, whether it be employment or transfer, and ensuring that they have all of the tools that they need to make those next steps. So the primary thing that I do is just try to maintain a current knowledge of the field of biology, which is ever growing through continual research. And part of this is just maintaining subscriptions to scientific literature, and then also trying to get students involved in that as well. So I create semester projects for them to also investigate the scientific research. Another thing that I do is I try to make connections to daily lives. And in a field like biology, that's relatively easy to do because there's always ways to connect kind of current events and personal accounts to the course material. So formative and summative assessments are a really important part of each and every class. So I try to continually assess student learning through kind of low stakes assessments, including daily quizzes, in-class activities, And I also will allow students to express their knowledge through a variety of means, including lab reports, homework assignments, class projects. I ask volunteers for students to explain content to the class as well. And through those opportunities, they are not only able to show me what they learn, but they're also able to demonstrate for themselves what they learn. We also focus a lot on a concept known as metacognition, which basically is this awareness of what your knowledge is. And so we use adaptive learning technology to really evaluate effectively a student's metacognition so that they know where their weaknesses are, where their strengths are, and what they need to work on in order to master the course material.